Speaking Spanish correctly. A guide for correct Spanish pronunciation. This guide is not organized alphabetically. It is organized phonemically, that is, by the sound of the letters. In this way, the letters are grouped by the similarity in points of articulation in speech and the differences in sound. Technical linguistic information is given for an added information. This information specifies 3 areas aiding correct pronunciation. First, the point of articulation, or the action of pronouncing, where the tongue is in the mouth and what parts of the mouth are involved. The voiced or unvoiced, that's the engagement of the vocal cords. And aspiration, or the flow of air or the lack thereof produced in the release of the sound prior to the onset of the next sound sequence. Aspirants. Aspirants, or the exhaling of air. This term refers to simply passing air over the vocal cords. They can be unvoiced, as in the English letter H, or voiced, which is what happens when vowels are pronounced. This sound precedes vowels and normally is seen as the silent pronunciation of the vowel that is subsequently pronounced. The letter J is an aspirant, and equivalent in pronunciation to the letter H in English. The J or J in Spanish is pronounced like the H, ha. Ha, he, he, ho, hu. Except the G and the E and the G and the I also make that same sound. He, he. But GA is ga, GO is go, and GU is gu. So when it's paired with those, you can see them crossed out. Then it has the hard G sound. Otherwise, these all have the same h sound. Jalea, jalea. Jefe, jefe. Jicama, jicama. Joroba, joroba. Jugo, jugo. Second line, ojalá, ojalá. Eje, eje. Ají, ají. Ojo, ojo. Enjugar, enjugar. And the G is the same. First word, gemir, gemir. Gigante, gigante. And when it's in the middle of the word as well, agente, agente. And finally, ágil, ágil. Laterals. In laterals, air is released laterally on either side of the tongue. This term refers to the pronunciation of letters that are made when the tip of the tongue forms a stop behind the alveolar ridge, right behind the teeth, while releasing air laterally on both sides of the tongue. The letter L is a lateral and is similar in sound to the English L. Note, however, the L in English has 2 pronunciations. The word little contains both. The first L is made in the front part of the mouth, assimilating to the letter I, while the second letter is made in the back of the mouth, forming what is known as a syllabic consonant. In Spanish, the L is always and only made in the front part of the mouth. The following slides will show you. The L in Spanish is the same as the L in English, except the L in Spanish is always pronounced in the front part of the mouth. The L in English has 2 pronunciations. One is in the front and the other is in the back. Listen to the word little. Little in English, you can feel in your mouth with your tongue and even hear
there's two L pronunciations. That's because the final L is called a syllabic L, and it actually means a syllable. Little, little, if we divide it in English. The L in Spanish is always pronounced in the front of your mouth. So if I were to pronounce the word little in Spanish, it would be little, little. Let's look at these. La, le, li, lo, lu. La, le, li, lo, lu. Lápiz, lápiz. Lento, lento. Lija, lija. Loco, loco. Luz, luz. In the second line, when it's in the middle, same thing, always in the front. Alabar, alabar. Elefante, elefante. Eliminar, eliminar. Elocución, elocución. Eludir, eludir.
Alveolar taps. Alveolar, the ridge behind the front row of top teeth. Taps made by tapping the tongue. This term refers to the pronunciation of letters that are made by lightly and quickly tapping the tongue against the alveolar ridge. Whereas in the letter D, the tongue makes a stop against this ridge, in a tap it lightly touches the ridge. The letters R and R are alveolar taps and flaps, and have a particular pronunciation in Spanish that is different from English. The following slides will show you.
The letter R in Spanish is obviously not R, like the pirate R in English. It's pronounced almost like the letter D in English. You tap your tongue to the place where you pronounce the letter D very fast. Ara, ara. It almost sounds like you're saying ada, ada, but you don't leave your tongue there that long. You just tap it. You tap that ridge right behind your teeth, ara, ara. So we say ra, re, ri, ro, ru. Ra, re, ri, ro, ru. First word, raro, raro. Restar, restar. Rincón, rincón. Romero, romero. Rubia, rubia. You're going to have to practice these to get just a little bit of air before you have the first R. Ara. When it's the middle of the word, it's a little bit easier. Ara, ara. I'm not saying ada, it's ara. Acero, acero. Adherir, adherir. Ropero, ropero. Baru, baru. And of course, the double R, which is the same place where you put your tongue for ara, except now you're going to just blow a force of air over it so that it vibrates. Arra, ra, re, ri, ro, ru. If you have a problem saying it, relax your tongue and just blow air over it. Don't try to go right away. When you get that little vibration, it's the force of the air that's actually making it vibrate. You're not moving the tongue at all with your tongue. Da, 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 da. You're not doing that. So there are no words in Spanish that begin with double R. They're all in the words themselves. So the first word, borracho, borracho. Aserrín, aserrín. Arroyo, arroyo. catorro, catorro, arruinar, arruinar. You'll have to practice this letter. R. Force of air over the top of the tongue. Put it lightly behind that ridge and force air over it. Like that.
Nasals. Nasals is the passage of air through the nose. This term refers to the pronunciation of letters that are made when there is some form of stop produced in the mouth, M bilabial, N alveolar, and Nye palatal. The release of the air comes through the nose, not the mouth. These are always voiced. The letters M, N, and Nye are voiced nasals. In many cases, the vowel that is pronounced directly after the nasal becomes nasalized. Note, when the N terminates a word or syllable, it is pronounced as a velar nasal. That is, it is pronounced as the English pronunciation NG, as in sing.
The M in Spanish is like the M in English. It's pronounced ma, me, mi, mo, mu. And it's the same at the beginning of the syllable or the word and in the medial also. Mamá, meta, milla, mostrar, muela. Once again, mamá, meta, milla, mostrar, muela. And at the end or in the middle of the word as well. Mamá, mamá. Cometa, cometa. Cómica, cómica. Tomo, tomo. Amuleta, amuleta. The N is like the English N, except when it's in the middle of the word, except when it's at the end of the word. When the N is final on Spanish words, it has the sound of ing, of that ing, that ng sound at the end. So if we were to say the word in English in, that would be ing in Spanish. Na, ne, ni, no, nu. Once again, na, ne, ni, no, nu. First word, tuna, tuna. Second word, nene, nene. Third word, níspero, níspero. Fourth word, noble, noble. Final word, nupcial, nupcial. Now, as you notice there, I have an ng final. So listen to the word. First word, nación, nación. It's not nación. It's not nation. It's nación, nación. Second word, división, división. Reunión, reunión. Hagan, hagan. Atún. So you'll have to practice when it's at the end of the word, ng sound. Here's the interesting letter that's not in English at all. Nye. N followed by a Y. Actually, what's happening is that if you remember how you placed your tongue when you say the letter N, it's the tip of the tongue that's behind the teeth on that ridge. N. Think about it and do it. N. The Nye is with the flat part of the tongue on that ridge. N, enye. So actually you're curling your tongue. So the tip of your tongue is actually behind your teeth. And the flat part of the tongue, not way in the back, but the flat part, somewhat central part of the tongue, is on that ridge. So if we say enni with the regular N, enni, enye, enye, enye with the enye. Nya, nye, ni, nyo, nyu. And what happens is that the vowel following it is somewhat nasalized. It happens by itself, just physiologically the way you pronounce the word. Nya, nye, ni, nyo, nyu. So the first word, ñame, ñame, ñengo, ñengo, ñisca, ñisca, gnocchi, gnocchi, nudo, nudo. When it's in the middle of the word, niña. There's an example of both. N's and enye, niña, niña. It's not niña, it's niña. Añejo, añejo. Gruñir, gruñir. Año, año. Ceñudo, ceñudo.